Here we go. Hey, this is a simple GeoGearHeads. This is episode 334. Daryl and I, you may notice, are on one screen.
Well, that's because we were finally able to rip a hole in the space-time continuum. So we're not here. We're just here.
Yeah.
No, we're actually live from the Fairfield Inn in Eastgate. Well, I guess it's actually the Eastgate region of Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
Here for Geo Woodstock. Did our check-in and stuff. Did a whole bunch of things. So it's been interesting.
It has been. It's been a very busy time. We've done a couple of geo tours.
Well, we almost did a couple.
Well, yes, we
couldn't
we've been on several parts of geo tours.
Yeah, and we couldn't successfully complete the adult version of one of them, so we had to do the kids version.
We did the kids version
where we ran into Sunny, Sandy, and Sean, also trying to do that same trail.
Yeah, exactly.
But they have the excuses, Sean.
Well, they have a child,
right? So
we are just childlike.
Now, Limax says because we're both wearing red shirts, we better watch out for the Klingons. I'm thinking the Romulans are a bigger problem.
No, it's the Tholians. The Tholians are the real threat. Don't let the others fool you. Now, I am sporting the official Geo Woodstock 2018 Giga Event t-shirt. Giga events have red icons. We got red t-shirts. See how it works? Not to mention that it's Cincinnati Reds. There's just a whole lot of red going on here. And it's not even Russian. But yeah, so... Oh, but we have been Russian.
We've been rushing all over the place. And getting tied up all over the place, too.
We're not supposed to talk about that.
It's incredible. It's been awesome, but we're going to regular caches, running into people we know from home, running into people we know from the shows, all over the place. And unfortunately, it means we're not finishing geo tours.
Yes. So today we thought, so yesterday we knocked out the Donut Geo Tour. We knocked out the geocaching Geo Tour. Well, that kind of makes sense, right? It's only a geocaching Geo Tour. And we knocked out the Donut Trail tour?
Geo Tour. Well, there's a Donut Trail, Geo Tour, and the Donut Trail.
And the Donut Trail, okay. Yeah, I was thinking there's, it's not a Geo Tour, but you go to a bunch of donut shops, you get stamps, you get a t-shirt, which Daryl's not wearing tonight.
No.
But you know what, Daryl? I'm done with donuts.
I am so done with donuts for so long, and we still got a few back in the room.
Now,
if you are going to be here on Saturday, and we hope that you are for your own sake as well as for
you
us,
should be. There's absolutely no reason you shouldn't be here on Saturday.
Even if you're getting on a plane and going to Czechoslovakia,
I don't care.
You need to be here.
Yeah, just rent a car and drive here from Czechoslovakia. Drive fast.
I'm not sure they can do
that.
No,
fast. Overpressure your tires. You're fine. Trust me on this one.
Okay. And you'll make it in plenty of time.
Yeah.
But we are going to be giving away some of the new DuckTales trackables. If anyone's interested in those, we've got
brand spanking new.
Yeah, you activate them and release them yourself.
We've got lackeys who haven't seen these trackables yet.
Yeah, I know. It's very cool. We got them before most other people ever got to see them.
Yeah, exactly.
But we've got a couple of those we're giving away at 11 and 3 o'clock. We're going to be in the podcast area. That's when the drawings are going to be. And we also finally got our GeoGearHeads tags. Cool little tags, easy to haul around and take care of. But if you want one, the only way to get it is, our patrons are going to get one. But you got to come and see us at the podcast booth at 11 or 3, or maybe catch us there.
Or catch us somewhere else.
We only have a finite number of them.
That's right.
So we can't get to everyone. But make sure to try to catch us at Geo Woodstock, and we'll hopefully get you.
Now, if you happen to be in the area and you catch us tomorrow, ask for one of the tags.
Oh, absolutely.
If you see us on Saturday, ask for one of the tags. You know what? We're just going to pop one out and hand it to you.
As long as we have them.
As long as we have them.
If we don't have them, we can't do it.
We're out. And then you're going to have to go trade with someone else who's gotten one.
Or steal it.
Or, look on eBay.
Yeah, you could probably do that.
Yeah.
But if you're like Scott
it won't
Burks,
be there, but look on
you're
eBay.
just going to steal it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, he's likes to do that.
He does that.
Just to be contrarian.
We saw the Burks today.
We did. We saw the Burks. They picked up their stuff, and it was a good thing.
Drove down from Chicago just for today.
Yeah. But since we don't have the big board or anything back here For anyone who wants to discover this one, it is GHD4WP. Again, that's GHD4WP, and that's going to give you its own icon and everything. We had some fun with that.
Nice. Yeah, they're an interesting little trackable.
Yeah, I like them. Getting way off subject, I guess, really. But I like them for the size because they're small, they're easy to deal with. They're bigger than like a path tag, smaller than your average trackable tag. We wanted something that was easy to haul around, easy to carry, you know.
Right.
And
They're
I think
a
we
good
really hit it.
size. They're not that pressed aluminum. They're a coin.
Well, no, they are the pressed aluminum,
But they're thicker
coated.
than that. Oh, they're coated.
coated.
Okay, because they feel thicker than that.
Yeah. So the coating helps protect it.
Mhm.
And it's also part of that new website that Jesse has been working on and teasing, some new trackable deal. So I haven't even had a chance to try it. It's
Right.
supposed to be in beta like now. So I've not even gone
Now,
and seen
if I'm not
before.
mistaken, Jesse's a little distracted right now with, well, let's say Geo Woodstock, the
He is at
Giga
that.
event. You know, they're expecting 8 to 10,000 people tomorrow. I'm sorry, on Saturday. And, you know, he might be a little distracted. So that website may not go live, you know, tonight. Don't hold your breath. Unless you've already started, then go ahead. Keep holding it.
Yeah,
You'll
if
be
it's
fine.
not already live, it's probably not going to be going live.
And it won't be Memorex.
No Memorex. Let's kick it off, though, with some feedback we got from the Defez. And yeah, I love that name. And they said, I've been listening to the show for about 2 years now. My new job involves much more driving, so it gives me a chance to keep up to date on my podcast, and I've been enjoying the latest. I recently heard that you launched a beta Alexa app. Is there any chance you'll be launching the same service for Google Assistant as well? So here's the answer. No.
However, we did try today.
We did.
As I was walking down the trails doing the children's geocaching course, because, you know, well, I'm a child at heart. We thought, you know what? Let's open up the Google Assistant and say, hey, Google, play the GeoGearHeads podcast. You know what it did?
It played?
It played the latest episode.
Yes.
So on your Google Home, be it the mini, the medium one, the big one,
Google Assistant, anything that's powered by Google Assistant.
Right. Just say, or in fact, you know, go ahead and turn up the speakers right now, and I'll do it for you. Hey, Google, play the latest GeoGearHeads podcast.
And it works. Now, this is not an app or anything. It's part of a new Google initiative, part of their new podcast initiative. It actually scrapes websites. So it's going to work for almost all of the websites that are done the Google blessed way.
There you go.
Which, unfortunately, the caching in the Northwest currently is not. And if one of the big problems they have is there's a bunch of podcasts that are very similarly named.
Mm-hmm.
It cannot figure those out.
Right.
So we are lucky that GeoGearHeads is pretty unique. It does work, and it actually remembers where you left off. You can supposedly tell it to play episode numbers. We didn't try that.
Didn't try that.
No, we didn't try that. But the default, I guess, is to play the most recent and work the way back. Once you've listened to one, it's supposed to pick up from the last one you listened to. So it is a very cool one. It works very much like the one from the Alexa skill that we had done. So I love the concept. It seems to work. And it works on anything that's Google Assistance.
How cool, right?
Very cool. I'm so excited, and I'm happy that it's actually working.
Well, that's working well. We got email. You know, email never stopped working.
Are you sure?
Yeah. We got email from Mike D. He says, listening to Randomize in the last days, you mentioned an alternative to a space pen. However, on the Sunny and Sandy show recently, they mentioned the Uniball Power Tank as well. They mentioned a review by Pen Addict. It looks good. You can get it on Amazon and have it sent to you. I looked at those reviews. The reviewer was very positive of the Uniball Power Tank. It's a pen. It's about $3, maybe $3.50, as compared to what's a space pen? 10, 50?
Well, it starts at about $10, I guess, but
10,
you get into
$15?
some of the cooler ones, like the one I've got, the telescoping one, is $30.
Yeah.
Now, you're not going to get something like that out of the Uniball, but it's nice disposable pen. A lot of people I know swear by those.
Yeah. So with the idea of the power tank, it's a pressurized ink tank, and so it's going to flow that ink in any position, much like the space pen. So you can write upside down, you can write on wet, you could write underwater, because that happens. So it's a good one. There are some postings underneath that review that say, no, this pen stinks. It's not durable, So, for $3, give it a shot and see if that's a pen that works for you. If not, go spend $30 and get yourself a good Fisher Space pen.
Yeah, and I can't recommend the Fisher Space pens enough. I've had mine for years.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I've had it for the full 12 years or so.
Okay.
But I actually lost a couple of them. I had one for 8 years and lost it. Got a new one, lost it within a couple of months.
Oh, that's the one I have.
Oh,
no,
that's what happened. So it wasn't Scott Burks.
I learned this from Scott Burks.
Oh, yeah. Got it. Okay. Now I know what's happened.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to Team G Winchester. I have an interesting question, and I wonder if the experts can answer. I heard someone say that.
Where are we going to find experts?
Well, we called one.
Oh, good. Okay.
I heard someone say that the phone Wi-Fi. Sorry, I like saying Wi-Fi.
It's Wi-Fi.
I know, but Wi-Fi is so much more fun. Interferes with GPS in the phone, reducing its accuracy. Everything I read says differently. What is the truth?
Truth is whatever you believe.
Yeah. Well, and the truth is you can't have anything interfere with anything else too, because it's an electronic device, and if
it's electronic devices in anything that emits radio waves has the possibility of interference.
Right. But the cool thing is, there was a Department of Transportation GPS adjacent band compatibility assessment that was just released in April.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty fresh.
It's pretty fresh. It's really cool, and it is a ton of information. Too much for us to understand, but we know a guy who's kind of good at this kind of stuff. So we asked Limax to give us a summary. So you want to read that summary since it's bigger on.
Do you want me to read the entire summary?
Read his entire summary, because this is his summary, and we can't really understand what's going on.
Okay. It's a summary of the DOT study on GPS and adjacent band compatibility. The purpose of the study was to determine how much interference is caused by adjacent bands to the GPS frequencies. For this test, the US DOT not only tested GPS signals, that's L1, C, A, P, C, and M, and L2P, but also check the bands SBAS L1, GLaSSNOS L1, C, and L1P, Baidu, and Galileo. They checked both. Do you like how I just ripped all those off like I knew exactly what they meant?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we've said them enough.
I know. Well, not all that, but checked both the commercial and aviation receivers, both certified and non-certified, as well as receivers for rail, maritime, and space applications. Of interest to geocachers, Android S5, S6, and S7 were tested along with the Garmin Edge 1000 and the Garmin eTrex 20X. Interestingly enough, there was no car navigation GPSRs in the study.
They couldn't find them anymore.
That's probably the case, isn't it? The signals were introduced as interference. The signals introduced as interference were both white noise and LTE signals at fixed levels. The LTE signals were not injected directly into the GPS system bands, although the white noise was. The purpose was to determine what power levels adjacent signals could be transmitted in order not to interfere with the various global positioning signals. You got this so far?
Now I'm getting lost, but I get the ideas. They're trying to figure out where it's going to start affecting the GPS.
Okay. The test for each frequency was performed as follows. So there was a quiescent period for 5 minutes to establish a baseline, a step through the entire power range from -90 to -20 dBs for 1530 megahertz signal and a minus 100 to a minus 30 dB for the 1550 megahertz signal generation at 2 dB with 15-second dwell at each. The sequence was performed for all desired frequencies from 1475 to 1675 megahertz at the interference signal. The actual list of frequencies are on the test paper on page 42. So this isn't just some, quick, let's just do something.
No. This thing is a massive report.
Yeah.
And we will have the link in the show notes. Check out the show notes. Go to this link. It's impressive. You'll want to read it just so you can tell your friends you've read it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Are you ready for this? I read all that to say this. The conclusion is, you know what? Stay tuned next week. We'll tell you then.
Okay, Sonny.
Okay. The conclusion is that the general location and navigation equipment could tolerate a maximum EIRP, that's the effective isotropic radiated power of minus 31 dBs at 10 meters and minus 11 dBs at 100 meters in an urban environment. Now, these radios are sitting right next to each other.
Right. So
on your phone.
Really, what it's sounding like is it's not too much of a risk. However, it can be. And the reason I think they've been doing this is there was that Lightwave LTE that was trying to do the satellite-based system, and now someone else wants to try the same thing.
But that was adjacent frequencies.
The new one is getting close as well.
So, and they were Lightwave was using land-based towers to augment,
right?
And that was just going to scatter adjacent frequencies right next to the GPS band. So
yeah,
that one actually had the ability to interfere with your GPS signals.
Right, and it did in their testing too.
Yeah. So if you can't find a cache, turn your phone off.
Well, and this is one of the things that we've been hearing for years now is that CDMA especially used to cause interference with GPS.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't necessarily do it, but more often than not, it seemed to affect the GPS performance because the CDMA frequencies were close. LXIX is saying he thinks that it was L1 and L2 signals for Lightwave.
Okay.
Anyway, we have no live audience. If who was it? That's Chad that was asking. We did bounce. We did actually put out a tweet to invite anyone, but what would you rather do? Drink beer or come and watch us? And especially because you could go drink beer and watch us if you're over there. You just don't come in here and hackle us in person. But then you can't come and ask for a geocaching tag or GeoGearHeads tag.
GeoGearHeads tag, yeah. If you were here, you would get one.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, I'm just saying. Wet Coaster says, does it have that new study smell?
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah, because it was April. It's a pretty fresh study. Yeah.
Anyway, so getting back to this, with the Wi-Fi, I think what they're actually referring to is almost all of the smartphone devices
mm-hmm.
have access to databases that index the Wi-Fi hotspots. So any access point, anything, it's indexing the MAC addresses to the location.
Right.
And it uses that to refine or even to give you a location. So if you're in areas where that's not been done correctly,
mm-hmm.
and if you're on like a hotspot, like mobile hotspot, I've had those. They've pretty much fixed that kind of stuff now. But that has been throwing off your location. Like anytime I turned on the hotspot that I used to have, I'd instantly jump to Pontiac, Michigan, because that's the first time I powered it up. It registered the device there.
Oh, really?
So it thought that device was there.
Even
when I put in the no scan or something, there was an underscore no scan that you'd put in the SID. Yeah. But once it indexed that MAC address, it kept it in the database that Google was using. They eventually got that fixed, but it was a problem. Anytime I fired up
the Googles
hotspot for the tablet, it would drift over there. So that, I think, is probably what they were talking about. Now, the nice thing is if you're in like the city, that is really, really handy because it does help you filter down to a good location much better than you can get off just
Mhm.
GPS.
Mhm.
And the urban jungle will throw you off blocks, and it is really tough for GPS.
It can be. It can be.
And because it's the refractions that go off the buildings, it's just all over the place. So the um, Wi-Fi helps it refine and get it down with a signal that isn't as reflective and works better. All right.
So, if you have anything to say about that, please send us
everyone in the
send us
audience,
email.
speak up.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Oh, I can't slam the table. It makes everything jiggle.
Yeah. These are not tables good for meetings. Now, Indiana Daryl emailed, I was listening to another podcast, and a subject got me to thinking if any virtual rewards got lost due to a geocacher having a special character in their name. Just like when some cachers didn't get their Mary Hyde souvenirs because of them in a special case. Sorry, I didn't
Because
read
of
this.
a special
Because of them
character.
having a special character in their name, and if so, how many? I'm guessing that's what happened to mine. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt that that's what happened. I don't know if that would have affected anyone. I wouldn't think that it did, but I know what happened to mine is that probably when they ran their routine, one of the things that they said is if you had any needs maintenance, you didn't get it. And I had a cache that had a needs maintenance.
Interesting.
So, it could be that someone had logged that needs maintenance right before they did the algorithm, and you wouldn't have gotten it.
That's a shame. If you corrected that needs maintenance, did you get it?
No, because it's whenever they ran the routine, it was a one-off.
Okay. Interesting. I got mine.
You got yours?
Yeah.
Oh.
The Mary Hyde.
No, not the Mary Hyde.
Which one?
We're talking about the virtual rewards.
Oh.
Mary Hyde. Yeah, Mary Hyde you would have gotten.
Sorry. I was thinking souvenirs, as kind of the virtual rewards of doing. Sorry. I'm down. You know what? Ignore me.
We usually do. But we'll let you read the next feedback.
The truth hurts, Daryl. Okay. Will and L Willett said, I decided to go back and do a few caches while walking the dog. Cannot seem to figure out how to load the caches other than manually, one at a time. Is anyone else having this problem using a Mac?
Well, I did find the link to the PN60 info on Mac. The way that I remember doing it, I'm not sure if it actually works, and I didn't have a chance to test it. Haven't used the PN60 in probably 4 years, so I apologize. I wanted to do it, but this came in too late. You used to be able to drag and drop. Unfortunately, the link that I found talks about doing the drag and drop for other things, but not for geocaches. But you should be able to drag and drop a GPX file. Otherwise,
there you go.
Otherwise, if that doesn't work, which at one point in time that did not work, there was on the PN40 you can't do that. Yeah, because the PN40 you had to run it through some kind of filter. It indexed, created this file, and it would create multiple files, and you could switch which ones you watched or which ones were viewed. So that it was a cool thing. It had these databases that it processed and loaded in. But the PN60, PN40, PN20 are not supported anymore. They are on the Garmin site, as devices from Garmin, but no support.
No, because Garmin bought the company. I've been a Garmin user for years, and you'd be able to drag and drop the GPX files. And depending on the size of the file, it takes a long time for the GPS to start up the first time as it goes through and indexes all that. But you can do that. So, plug in your device into your computer. Now, to get a GPX file, you really need to be a premium member.
That you do.
Yes, you can do the LOC files if, select all these, and it gives you just the coordinates to go to, no other information. Names. But that's one of those things that being a premium member really benefits from.
Now there is an exception, and if it is a Geo Tour,
Oh yes.
you can download the GPX or a Geo Tour from the Geo Tour page on geocaching.com.
Mhm.
So that's the GT number. So like the one of the ones we were working on today was GT88. So if you go to the Geo Tour GT88,
89.
well, there was an 88 and an
Oh.
89. The Earth Cache one was 89, if I remember, and the Great Parks was 88.
Okay.
I might have that flip flop, but
Anyway.
one was one. You know, they're next to each other.
Nice. Well, I hope that answers your question. We have more email again from Team G Winchester. Says, I want to share with you a new Geo Tour or Geo Trail called Find Your Chesapeake. It's a 4-state trail with the support of the National Park Service, Chesapeake Conservatory. I should have read this one. Susquehanna Heritage.
I'm not sure. I'm not very good at those.
Oh, it's definitely Susquehanna. I mean, what else could it be? And the Northern Virginia Geocaching Association and the Maryland Geocaching Association. Find Your Chesapeake, or FYC, GeoTrail will launch on June 9th, 2018. That is GC 7 Kilo. I don't.
You're missing your chart.
I know. W4. Somebody will say it there in the chat. And with over 60 caches in Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Delaware, a trackable geocoin will be awarded to the first 300 cachers who find 20 geocaches on the trail while supplies last. Join us June 9th for complete trail details and to get a copy of the passport. On the day of the event, please proceed to Klein Run Park. Coordinates given at the waypoints, and a shuttle bus will take you to the Zimmerman Center. Special thanks to the Zimmerman Center for hosting this event.
Now, this is really cool to see more of these Geo Tours, and they're really starting to come out.
They really are.
And I think one of the reasons is because we learned this week on the geocaching blog, or
Whiskey. I knew.
Whiskey.
I knew I said it
Kilo
as soon
whiskey.
as done, but I didn't want to interrupt.
Anyway, the geocaching blog announced that the Geo Tours are now getting souvenirs, and I think this has been one of the big things, because we've had this discussion over and over again in various forums that there's not really a big reason to do a Geo Tour over a Geo Trail. Because the Geo Tour, you have to pay geocaching.com.
Exactly.
And all you really get from them is that cool page and the ability to download with a little bit of advertising on it. You still have to have your own page for it. You still have to do all the staffing, do all the organization. So if you have to do all of that stuff anyway, why pay geocaching.com? Just do a trail, advertise it yourself.
Several in Washington State are calling them geocoin challenges.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
they give away the coin and, the passport. They're just not paying geocaching.com the Geo Tour fees.
Yeah. Yeah. And why really bother? So this is yet more incentive. There are a number of people who really go for these souvenirs.
Oh, yeah.
And if we get some kind of challenge, because now you're getting that souvenir, I think you're going to be able to require, make challenges based on the number of Geo Tours you've completed. So I think this is going to be something to help get more Geo Tours going. So that's going to be an interesting thing. Now, there are some questions that we've heard and had about it, and we don't have answers for. One question, though, is that some people have not gotten the souvenirs yet.
Right.
What we've heard is it's not really official, but it's come out of ground speak. And even the lackey that we've talked to doesn't know the answer. So we don't know for sure. There is no placeholder, though, is what we're understanding. And the ones that have not been assigned yet are likely that the owner of the tour has not gotten them the artwork yet.
Right.
So that's going to be a little sticking point. There has been some speculation that it might just be the script hasn't gotten around to you. But if you're completing a Geo Tour now, you're going to hit it. The next problem that we've heard might exist, but we haven't found anything on it, and maybe someone in the chat even has heard what's going on, and if so, let us know. But many of the Geo Tours don't require you to do all of the caches on the Geo Tour.
Right.
The
Well, the one we just read, all these caches, there's 60 and you have to do 20 to get a coin, right?
Yep.
Uh,
Something like that.
There are 60 caches in Maryland. The first 300 who find 20 geocaches on the trail will get a coin. So if you don't do, now this isn't a Geo Tour.
No, that one is a Geo Tour. Oh no, maybe it's not. It's a Geo Trail. Okay.
Yeah. So that's a good example. You only need to find 20 of the 60 in order to get the coin. But if there was a souvenir with it, you'd have to get all 60 to get the souvenir.
That's the expectation. We don't know for sure. There might be something in there, but the bigger problem becomes you have a lot of these, I shouldn't say a lot, a few of these trails where it's like one night stay in a hotel or one meal equals like a cache or two.
Or points. It's all point based.
Right. So if that happens, I don't see how they're going to be able to do that.
No. I think if you are the owner of a Geo Tour, you should be able to do some sort of, yes,
well, I can see them have
Chris did this, Daryl did this, check, you get
that would
souvenir.
be nice. But I could see them where they would have something like, what is the minimum number of caches to be completed of this trail to qualify? But they certainly can't do something like a point system because they can't keep track of
and
number of hotel stays.
Right. No, they can't keep track of anything outside of geocaching.com, and points would be different for each one. No, that's 5 points. Oh no, this one's 2,000 points. I don't know. How does that work?
Yeah, you're just have to have that override of assign the souvenir to this person.
Now, one of the questions that is the reason I don't have a Geo Tour icon. They say one of the caches on the Geo Tour was disabled when I was there, right? So I did the Richmond, BC Geo Tour. The day it was released, there was one cache, Land Monkey's cache. So I'm just tossing him right under the bus to begin with. There was an event going on, and the police blocked off the area where the cache was.
Oh.
And I think, just because it's a Land Monkey cache, police were involved. But that's a separate story. So they said, you know what? You don't have to find it today. You bring in, let's say there were 20, you bring in the other 19, we give you the coin. So I never found that last cache. So in Groundspeak's eyes, I never completed the Geo Tour.
Right. And Andrew in the chat is asking how much Groundspeak charges to set up a Geo Tour. They won't disclose that. And part of the agreement is that the people who purchase them can't disclose it, but we do know it's thousands of dollars.
Yes, I was going to say I think I know one.
We've heard some rough numbers. Most of them based around how many of this you'd have to sell or.
So yeah, it's expensive to have a Geo Tour, and that's something you have to renew each and every year.
Right. It's only I think you can purchase like a 3-year plan when you sign up, but it is a 1-year plan. So when you sign up, it is for a year. And a lot of it is based around the fact that they are going and putting in all this effort of setting up these pages for you. They put it into the newsletters. So you are getting the advertising.
Right.
Yeah. And they do put a lot of effort into some of them working with the organizers. It doesn't seem to work out well, though, if the geocachers are not involved. If they're working with like the chamber or with the park system,
I thought you meant the geocachers weren't finding them. It doesn't work out well.
Well, no, that doesn't work out well at all. No, but we've seen some of these where it's like the park system has the rangers put them out, and I know one of them that I'm not going to mention any names has gotten a lot of criticism. And when we talked with the people in charge of the Geo Tour, they were not very flattering in their descriptions of working with that agency either.
Yeah. No, it really pays. If you're planning a Geo Trail, if you're a city government, city parks and rec, really, you've got to work with a geocacher. That's the only way you're going to get good quality hides. Now you can do things because you're, the parks, say the parks department, they're the landowner. They can do things that you can't normally do. So, I'm thinking of Mount Vernon Parks and Rec has had some incredible geocaches. One of them, you've got these large wooden pillars to, stop cars from going onto the grass. Well, they can go and cut one of those, hollow it out, and then, put the pins in to replace the top, and it looks, really good.
Yeah.
Now, I would never get permission from a parks department to say, hey, let me come and cut one of these pillars up so I can hide a cache in it. Oh, no. But if you as the parks department come up with that idea, it's good. Go for it.
Well, and I had one where the parks department, this was their own series of caches, had gone and built a little shelf essentially under a dock. So you had to lean over the edge of the dock to get the cache. We can't put that in.
Right.
They can put that in. They had another one that was actually a hole that was pre-existing for some kind of monitoring device at one point, I think they said. So you went to it, and it's got the monitoring cap and everything on it, and you have to open it up. I think that one they actually put some kind of indication. It wasn't as obvious as like the open source geocaching logo on the side, but it was something like that. All right, next bit of information that came out of Geocaching HQ, and there was quite a lot this week.
They're busy little bees, and
I think it's because of the Gigastock. That's my belief.
I think a lot of the lackeys are traveling to Gigastock. Some professionally, some personally. So I think maybe somebody's not at home monitoring what they're doing, and they're like, "Get this out. Let's get this out. Let's get this."
I was thinking,
it's out in the public. Sorry,
I was thinking it's clear the decks.
Oh, okay.
I have to get this out so I can leave the office.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
In any case, there's changes to the Geocaching HQ policies, and it was a blog post talking about the transparency. But the big thing, and this is why you're seeing so many of them right now, is the GDPR, the European Union rules. Everyone is getting slammed with all kinds of changes, updates, and notices, and it's too hard to keep track of it.
You probably have 6 dozen emails saying, "Hey, we've updated our privacy policy."
Yeah, and
this is why.
That's just in the last hour.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably why you're seeing those, is because of the GDPR. So everyone has to spend the money, and it does cost money to do this stuff. It's not cheap, especially if you're a company of any size.
Right.
But you have to spend the money to get these done. So might as well spend the money and to get it all done all at the same time. Any of the changes you want to do, this is when you're going to do them. So everything's getting thrown in. But I have not had a chance to really read it. I read the summary, and the summary was meh.
I never read the privacy policy anyway. I figure, there's a good chance anything I put on these websites is going to be used for nefarious means.
Well, you always assume that someone is going to get a hold of it,
right?
That you don't want to get a hold of it,
right?
That's just a given.
I give as the minimum amount of information necessary, and then move on from there. Now, Daryl, you have some really sad news.
I do, though I don't know that it's sad news for everyone. It's certainly sad news for me.
Yeah,
because Navigon is shutting down. Yeah, poor little Loud. And this was actually very very problematic for us on Wednesday. And it really doesn't have anything to do with them shutting down. It's everything to do with the product having gotten crappy. But Navigon is shutting down. The quote on the page says, "Navigon has made for movement in navigation for over 25 years, and has given so many people greater orientation and less stress in everyday life and on the road. For strategic reasons, however, Garmin has decided to take all navigation apps, with a few exceptions, off the market as of May 14th. So this has already happened.
Yes.
For existing Navigon users, this means little change since you can continue using your app or device as usual. All Garmin turn-by-turn apps are affected, including Navigon, Navigon Regions, Navigon Cruiser, and as of June 1st, also Navigon Select Telcom Edition. The only exceptions are Garmin HUD, EU and NA, that's European Union and North America. the Garmin HUD Plus or BMW HUS, they can continue to download the Garmin HUD apps and get the free upgrades. You can still use your purchased app as usual for at least 2 years.
Okay.
So, you're not just SOL.
You're not high and dry just yet.
No, not just yet. And all in-app purchases already purchased will be available for use. You can't make new purchases, though. No more subscriptions or anything. You can continue relying on the assistance of the support team. And if you recently purchased Fresh Maps or use a subscription-based Navigon app, you will continue to receive the map updates until the subscription period ends.
Right. So what this means is I used to have Navigon, and Daryl did a Navigon course for
The route, yeah.
a route for the Geo Woodstock here.
And for the Donut Trail.
Fine.
You know what? We had how many points? And this is my big problem. It was something like 22 points in this route file. Nothing does that I know of. So if anyone knows of iOS or Android, because I've been having people asking for this on Android as well.
Microsoft Streets and Trips.
That's not on Android or iOS. There are apps that will handle about 10. But they won't handle more than the 10. And
Google will handle 10.
Google will handle 10. And Waze, I think, handles 10 now, too. But 10 is the limit. And even Cache Tour has problems with more than 10. There's a limit of 10 in a period. Same with
interesting.
The GSAC.
I was going to say, what about a GSAC macro? I know there's one there.
Yeah, and it's the same problem. They're all limited to 10 stops.
Are they all using like Google?
I'm not sure what they're using. Engine? And it must be something like that.
Interesting.
But really, I think what's probably going on is we've hit that spot at which navigation is no longer a product, but a feature.
Right. Oh, I agree with that. Yeah.
So we're losing all of these dashboard systems. There were days where you'd see ads on your local store page, and they have 4 or 5 Nuvies and TomToms on sale. Now there's like 1 at best. They only carry 2 models at most stores. So we've definitely hit that point there. Yep. And the apps are pretty much thinning out because everyone's going to the free ones like Waze, the Google Maps, and the Apple Maps. So I think this is the end of the road. I hope not, because none of those apps really do what we want them to do.
No, but for point-to-point navigation, you really can't beat the cell phone. I mean, you may have navigation in your car, and it's fine, but you've got to get that updated. The cell phones are updated all the time. That's where the navigation companies are spending their time on those maps. And, that's really the way to go. So,
well, I love navigating from the phone. Don't get me wrong. I want that. But I need to have the maps that are downloadable. And I need to be able to do like the whole state. You can't do that easily with most of the others.
Right.
It will cache them for you on some, and others you can actually tell it to download, but it's not an easy process like I'd like it to be. Navigon and TomTom, you download whole states all at once, and they're there. And that's all you had to do. So I like having that because we went to the street fair. Was that they call it? The street event yesterday. And it's in the valley right on the river, and we had almost no service unless you went between the buildings.
Okay, I didn't have a problem with service, but I had a problem with Apple Maps.
Yes.
That, stopped me a mile away and says, "Okay, you're going to have to walk from here." I'm like,
it took us on the weird routes getting back.
Yeah.
And it was screwy.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it was a fun curvy road to drive.
Oh, it was, and I wish I had a nice little sports car, maybe a convertible.
Yeah. Be nice
to hit some caches. Pick them off the tree. No.
Returning them is hard.
Yeah, you have to go back the other way and hook them again.
Hey, Daryl, I have to say, well, first of all, in the chat, Bounce says he's done a cache for the Parks Department and a fish hatchery. He says the key is to make it and show them what it's going to look like.
That makes sense.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing I have to say is I'm really digging this background. I like the orange dinner plates.
I don't think I'd want to use them as dinner plates because if you spill any gravy, it would go pouring out.
Well, you don't spill gravy. It's all gravy after that. But it's a pretty cool little backdrop. Maybe I'll have to get some of this for my studio.
It probably does a pretty good job at reflecting the sound too, so you don't have or dispersing the sound. So yeah,
Yeah, just don't talk right into the center where it's going to bounce sound
right back at you.
Like a parabolic dish. Okay.
Anyway, so we got to talk a little bit about the donut trail fiasco. We had many problems with Navigon, and we just kind of talked about the same kind of problems with Apple Maps. And you know what? I just realized Apple Maps uses here for their mapping. So does Navigon. I think we found a common thread here. The Here Maps, which used to be the Nokia stuff.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it was Nokia's map division.
Okay.
But in any case, it had problems at a couple of ones where it was taking us to the wrong spot entirely. Then
didn't have roads.
And then one of the caches was at the end of this road, but it didn't have the full road. It ended about half a mile from the actual restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
So we finally got to the restaurant and it was confused. So then it went and backtracked like 3 caches because it got confused, is our best guess. And then everything else got screwed up on the tour. And
so we ended up doing one site twice.
Yeah. Well, we ended up doing 3 times because we went back at the end of the day.
Oh, that's right.
Not because of that.
That was, the last one was intentional.
Right. Because we had to go pick up the coin.
Right. And the shirt.
It was unfortunate because it really screwed up the whll routing. And we had a nice system set up with Cache Tour.
Mm-hmm.
But it also split up the teams in Rock Chalk because we started it out with Rock Chalk. And then after that, he went to the wrong Ross Donuts because we were far enough north that the routing completely changed. So instead of going south and down the south road out to the west, we had to go north and then to the west. So it took us through another block of caches and donut shops.
Right. And I have to admit, there was a spot, it was a long drive.
It was
20 minutes or more.
Oh, it was like 30 minutes, I think.
It was to the point of like, this can't be right. I'm not going to the right spot. So I look at the donut trail info and I look at, well, that's not the address I'm going to. And I'm doing this while I'm driving, I'm like, I'm going to the wrong spot. This is not right. So I pull over and I look and it says this address or the one I was routing to.
Right. Because there's 2 different stores. So it doesn't matter. Yeah. And the first one, we didn't have to go to that one. We needed to go to the second one, hit that one first, and then we go up into the other batch.
Right.
So it was one of those kind of, make your selection and go to that one. And we had it all planned out, but because of one little screw up, everything got hosed.
Mm-hmm. Well, William said he finished the donut trail today. Waze and Cashly had no troubles. Yes, long drives though.
Yeah, Waze and Google Maps, I think, would be the way to do that. Although Google Maps had some issues at Holtman, I think it was.
Yeah, I usually trust Google Maps over Apple.
I used to, but lately Google Maps has been giving me more trouble than Waze or than.
Though my rental car has CarPlay, so the Apple Maps work really nicely, and it's a really nice system. So I find that I'm using them just because it's convenient, not because it's accurate.
Right. And then Roger in the chat says Garmin still does have car GPSs. And
they have them. You just have trouble finding them.
Yeah. You went from it was insane. I really was amazed Garmin was selling any.
It seemed like every 3rd week they were coming out with new car units.
They were releasing at least like 3 new ones a month. They kept the old ones on the market as like cheaper ones sometimes. But at one point they had something like 100 different GPSRs in the electronics stores here in the U.S.
Yeah, they saturated their own market.
Yeah. And most of them were the same. It was just like little software tweaks.
Or maybe some.
Sometimes you got lifetime maps with it.
Yeah.
So, it's which maps were included.
Subtle design changes. Some of them, it's got a rubber back for better grip. Or it's thinner, but it's the exact same software. So what does it matter? Do you remember also when they made the adapter change, went from micro or mini to micro?
Yeah.
So those ended up being new models.
Right. Which realistically they should be, because you don't want to have the same model with a different connector.
No.
Because you want to be able to say, here's the model I have. Which connector do I use? Which adapter? Let's move on to the last of the stories that we have. And this is simply going to be a mention, because I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I thought it was interesting that the U.S. Department of Justice is investing claims that AT&T, Verizon, and GMSA colluded to prevent customers from easily switching carriers.
No.
Is this a question?
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, of course they're colluding to, oh no, you can't switch, or there's going to be a fee, or this. They're always doing that.
Well, no, what
they
they're
don't
talking about is the post fee. They're talking about the SIM locking.
Oh yeah,
yeah, because in most of the carriers in the U.S. Forced the various manufacturers to include a SIM lock. So once you activate with that carrier, your device is locked to them until they unlock it for you. It's like,
and they usually, well, I know with AT&T they would unlock a device after 2 years,
right,
for free.
Right.
You could pay to unlock it before that.
Well, yeah, and a lot of that used to be because it was on contract. So essentially, when you were buying it on contract, it was essentially forcing, or not forcing. It was essentially a secret financing program.
Right. Well, no, it wasn't secret. It was outright.
Yeah. Well,
but at the same time, you're locked into a contract during this time.
Correct. All right. I'm going to call that though.
Okay.
Because that's not really for this show, but I thought it was interesting, and a lot of our listeners would get a kick out of it. Rogers. He's talking about Canada, so I'm thinking Rogers. Roger is saying that Canada forces the carriers to allow unlocking for free.
That's a recent change?
Yes.
Maybe within a year?
I think it's longer than that.
Maybe
we reported on it when we heard about it.
But yes, Canada actually did it well before the U.S.
Yes. And the other
Good
thing that Wet
Canada.
Coaster is saying is that they pay through the nose for the data, but the phones are unlocked. And that's true of most countries. It's really, I think at this point, only the U.S. and some of the Asian countries that do locking.
Yeah, right. But our data is much cheaper.
Our data is it's much cheaper than some, not all. There are some that are like in like Asia, it's insanely cheap. So,
well, I'm going to throw out an example.
Okay.
See Michelle.
Yes.
See my shell.
Yes.
It's not Michelle. My shell.
I know. I'm going to blame Gary.
Okay. He's here from Australia.
Correct.
New Zealand, to be more accurate. I believe.
New Zealand? I thought he was Australia.
I thought he said he came.
No, his friend, I think, came with him from New Zealand.
Oh.
I could be wrong.
He's from somewhere in the South Pacific, one of the countries there, and came to the U.S. for $85. He got a AT&T SIM for his older iPhone. $85 unlimited data for the month. Really, you can't beat that.
No. We can beat it as
ongoing, right?
Yeah, postpaid guys. Right. But if you're not postpaid, no, you can't beat it.
No, that's quite the deal. I mean, unlimited data, so it allows him to do everything he wants to do. You've got one device, and off you go.
Yep.
So yeah, there are some good things.
All right, so that's going to do it for this week's show. Before we get into the schedule, just a reminder for anyone who is here at Geo Woodstock, make sure 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. are the podcaster booth appearances. And
exactly.
Drawings.
And drawings. We've got prize drawings. Come by. You know what? If you catch us during Geo Woodstock, not only are we going to give you a GeoGearHeads tag. It's been a long day, folks. Give me a break. GeoGearHeads tag. We're also going to give you a ticket for that drawing.
We will, as long as we have them. Well, and after 3 o'clock, after 3 o'clock, no more tickets.
Thank you.
That's it.
Yeah, after 3 o'clock. Yep.
No more tickets. No more tickets for you.
No ticket for you.
Yeah, sorry. Long day, and
No ticket. Come back
we've-
1 year.
we've already spent way too much time together.
Yeah.
It's been what 2 days, and we've already spent way too much time.
It's been
together.
like 2 nonstop days.
Yeah.
I think I got 4 hours of sleep last night or something. I don't know.
You got 4?
Yeah.
Wow, I'm jealous.
Well, some of that was sleeping in the car driving back.
Anyway.
Oh, I wasn't supposed to tell you that, was I? You were sleeping there in the car next to me.
Yeah. Just no, this does not count as seeing us at the event because we can't pass anything through. But I will give you guys the tracking number one more time if you want to discover that GeoGearHeads tag that I've activated. And it is GHD4WP. Again, GHD4WP.
There you go. Now, if you've enjoyed this show, we do a show not like this every week. Sometimes I can't reach out and touch Daryl.
No.
And he likes it that way.
Yeah, it's a little bit safer that way. Oh, yeah. And you know what we forgot to do?
What?
Is say welcome to everyone who found us through Geo Woodstock. Because there are people who didn't know us about us until they met us here.
There you go.
Yeah, and you know what else? We didn't tell them who all the podcasters were that were going to be here.
GeoGearHeads.
Yeah. Who else counts? But we actually ran into Sunny, Shandy, and Sean on the trail this morning. They are going to be at the booth.
Yep.
Gary is actually in Kentucky. He's actually going to stay in Kentucky. But when I talked to him,
he's not allowed to come into Ohio. Is that the reason?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think
I wouldn't blame Ohio for not letting him in.
I'm not sure he's banned from Ohio. I think he's just limited as to the number of hours he can spend in Ohio. But he is going to be here. I talked to him.
We saw Scott Burks
3 hours ago.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You were talking to him.
Yeah, he was, he was in Louisiana. Louisville.
Oh, Louisville.
Okay. Yeah. Scott Burks stopped by, and the Line Monkey is going to be here too
on Friday night. So Saturday,
he's going to be here for Geo.
Shermanator 18 is here.
She is, but I don't think she's going to be spending much time at the podcaster booth.
But she's here.
She's here. Yeah. And lots and lots of vloggers.
Yeah, lots of vloggers.
And we're right next to the vloggers.
More vloggers than you can shake a stick at.
Well, I don't know. Depends on the size of the stick.
Bring your own stick.
Yeah.
We're not providing any
sticks.
sticks.
No. No sticks.
That's for our own protection. Okay. Now,
schedule.
Let's jump into next week's show. We're going to tell you about it. We're not actually going to jump into it. Next week, that's May 31st, we are talking about trackables. This is episode number 6 on just trackables. This is going to be a special early recording. This is going to be at 4 p.m. Pacific.
No, 5 p.m. Pacific.
Oh, this is different.
Oh, no, it is 4 p.m. I did the math wrong. 4
p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time with Annie Love.
We have to be done by 5, I think.
Okay. Of Geocaching HQ. June 7th, first podcast of June, is Project GC with who other than Magnus? I like Magnus.
I do too.
Yeah.
And he does a great job with that product.
He really does. My wife was saying we need to travel internationally more. She would love to do that. I said, well, Magnus would let me come and visit him. So anyway, June 14th, we are going to do another show just like this one, but with completely different topics. It's going to be randomized. There's no vowels. I can't pronounce this. LVX.
LXIX.
There's no vowels.
Well, we'll put an I in just for.
Okay, thanks. Let's put in an A. LVAX.
Yeah.
And then June 22nd is cruise caching with Subway Mark. That's going to be a great episode.
Yeah, he's always a good guy. Now, if we're jumping into next week's show, does that mean the shows are like pools? Like swimming pools?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, on the really deep shows, you have to tread water for a long time.
Got it.
Like I did with the GPS signal. Like I acted like I knew what they all meant. I was just treading water.
Got it. Okay. Now that we understand that, check the Cachermaniacs website at cachermaniacs.com for more on the GeoGearHeads, including show notes for this and all of our episodes. We love hearing from our listeners, so leave us feedback by emailing geogearheads@cachermaniacs.com or through social media. Your support helps keep the Cachermaniacs shows coming. Please consider becoming a patron through the link on our website to support the Cachermaniacs shows. GeoGearHeads is produced by Chris Huffenauer and Daryl Wanberg. The show is copyright 2018 by Daryl Wanberg. All rights reserved.